There we go. Good morning. It is Tuesday, March 13th. My name is Jeff Fritz. Welcome back to my live stream. Feels like it was forever since I last streamed because I did so many kind of back-to-back last week. Oh, thank you for hosting there, Chris. That's Space Shot hosting the stream over there on Mixer. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. I'm wearing my Doctor Strange hat today. Look at that. You can even see a little chroma key happening there. Whoa! In the letters. That's kind of cool. And gosh, look at this. Folks already joining in. Husseinable, welcome. Thanks for the follow. I look forward to seeing you here in the chat room. Ready for a laugh. What do you got for me there, Chris? Daylight savings adjustment. Yes. It's screwing us all up. It's... Philly Azure is now hosting me. That's also hosted by Chris. Thank you so much. Static Void Podcast. Wow, Chris, you're just going down the list. Host. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Hey, look, and I can actually see my chat room on Twitch today. That's great. But check digits. Nope, you're not first. Loving the hat. Thanks, DevOps Guru. I like to say that Benedict Cumberbatch stole his look from me. Benedict and I look a little bit too close. All right. My kids got me several Doctor Strange things. All right. I've got a couple things that I want to share with you today. Last week, of course, I was at MVP Summit, and I had a number of folks that were very interested in joining us for a live coding stream. But I don't think all of them knew exactly what I meant when I said a live coding stream. And I had to explain that this isn't a chat room. This isn't a normal chat show where we just talk about the latest cool things in technology. If I wanted to do that, I would invite on an analyst, a commentator, one of my friends like Christina Warren or Mary Jo Foley, and we could talk about latest news and tech. That's right, Justin. It is Fritz and Friends. Absolutely. So I want to make sure that folks know we write code on this stream. And we learn from writing code, and it's okay to break things. And it's interesting how many folks are really intimidated by demos failing and doing things live on stream. So, I do want to show you, I am, of course, always looking for new guests, looking for folks to join us, teach us some new things that we can add into our existing projects and work on it. People tell me they would do it, but they don't have time to practice. I don't think there's anything to really practice. This is what we already do as developers. Exactly. It's not the point to practice. We are developers. Let's learn from our failures. G. Cotfis. Great to see you down there. Thanks so much for the follow. Look forward to seeing you in the chat room. So here, let me take you over. Let's go over to the code here. There I am, back in the corner. Benedict, my name is close. Close? Benedict Cumberbatch. Not quite. Of course, this is the home for all the stuff that we're working on here on the stream, with a nice little screenshot of me, and links off to the music. Today we're listening to Purple from Music to Code By. I encourage you to check out Carl's music. I think it's amazing, and it's great and just chill in the background there. You can ask questions, of course. Here's the current projects we're working on, and guests. I had a guest confirmed last night. On Thursday. He's not going to be able to join us for the whole time because he's on the West Coast. But on Thursday, I can announce the boss will be joining us to show us how he upgraded a site from MVC5 to ASP.NET Core 2.1. So that was a big project, and he's going to show us the steps that he went through to make that adjustment. All right, so tell your friends. Scott will be joining us on Thursday for a little bit. I'm looking forward to it because I get to show the boss what it's like to actually be on here writing code live. All right. Isaac, I'm going to be talking to tomorrow. We're going to lock down an exact time for him. We'll talk about monitoring applications using application insights. I have about 6 other MVPs that are lined up that are ready to go. I'm negotiating times on. We're going to have at least 1, maybe 2 next week joining us. I'm lining up folks to help us with some of the work on our editor config file, looking at analyzers, working with TypeScript. There was a suggestion from someone, hey, why don't we convert some of this JavaScript code that's in the Stream Tools project, why don't we convert that to TypeScript? I think we're going to be doing that with an MVP in the next week or 2. A couple of other projects, folks that want to show us different database, some other neat things that we'll take a look at. And it's going to be in the weeks ahead. I got a chance to meet him at CodeStock. He did a great keynote talk. Awesome. That reminds me, while I'm here looking at the chat room, here's what I'm going to do. Standby reloading, you've been pretty good here at helping out. I am granting you a moderator sword. Thank you for helping out, Standby reloading. I'd like to make you a new moderator here on the channel. So there we go. That's kind of cool. All right. And that's where you met me. Oh, no. Now I don't know who you are in real life. Because we write the avatars, the handles. Yes, by the power of moderator tools and the funny little sword icon. All right. So I want to show you. Yeah, that's great. Go ahead. You can congratulate Standby Reloading. That's something he's been helping out here a lot. I want to make sure that I recognize those folks and give them the ability to help out a little bit more here. So I want to go back over to our Stream Tools real quick, and I just want to show you something before we get into the code we're going to look at today. I ran into a bug here where the follower goal does not show the current number of followers. So if you don't pass in an override for the number of followers, it doesn't actually show you. So I want to create one more issue here, and this is a feature that I was looking at and I ran into while watching my friend Fierce Kittens stream. I know, Fierce Kittens. Fierce Kittens is a great Twitch streamer. She does all kinds of really neat things around sewing and creativity and gameplay, and she writes a lot of C# code. She has a really neat bot that she uses to put up all kinds of crazy animations in the front of it. It's a lot of fun on her stream. But watching her got me thinking about a feature for our streamer tools. I want my moderators to be able to adjust the volume of the music so that when folks are in the chat room and say, I can't hear the music, or they say the music's too loud, if the moderator could issue a command and the stream tools could affect that inside of OBS, I think we're onto something. Should be able to execute a command to adjust the volume of the music on stream. Now this is going to be a while to build, because I think there's 2 pieces to this. But I think that'll be really cool to build and get into our mix here. All right. First thing I want to do today is I want to actually take a look at a new feature in ASP.NET 4.7.2. This is something that I shared last week at MVP Summit. It's something that was released at the end of last week, middle of last week, as part of the .NET Framework 4.7.2 feature pack, dev pack, right? So now you can develop with those features. Might also be interesting to display the now playing somewhere. The trick with that is moderator volume battle. Nice. I could buy that. All right. Let's add that as a new issue. Need a label to display the track now playing. All right. I can do that. Which music player do we inspect? Currently I use Groove, but have access to Spotify as well. And we'll figure that out. So a bot command, I think, fits in there as well. But I don't think you need a bot command if it's actually embedded in the video. So let me show you this .NET Framework feature, and then we'll come back and we'll do some more work on our stream tools. So what we've got, if we go File, New Project, I want to show you Web, New Web Application. I don't know why it goes to this folder. I don't want it there. And we will call this Sample Dependency Injection. All right. I'll make this 4.7.2. Go create it. I want web forms because these other frameworks have other ways to do dependency injection. Web forms don't need Docker support. Just go. Hey, good morning, Franklin89. Great to see you there on Mixer. And there we go. All right. There are a couple new features, a couple new parts to the base class library and system web that we can tap into now to enable these features. So I'm going to go down to global ASAX. And what I can do here, let's create something to configure Unity. All right, and we'll do something like that. And then let's create something that says Unity can no, let's just leave it like that. All right, I will create inside my app start folder a class called Unity config, and I'm just going to use the very simple Unity container. More of afternoon for me in Switzerland. Would be useful to create a cake script for build artifacts. You know what, IT Grant? I'm actually in the talks. The cake folks, the folks that sounds weird. The cake folks makes them sound like bakers. The developers that built Cake, I'm in discussion with them to do a stream where we'll convert the build script for Stream Tools into a Cake script, and we'll use that. So you are right on track with where I'm thinking. That's exactly the kind of thing I'd like to do. Hey there, Janescu. Great to see you. And good afternoon, Joe Button. All my friends there in Europe. Always great to see you join in here on the stream. Why does that font size look really small? I get paranoid about my font size. It's a little bit small. I knew it. All right, so now I have a Unity config. Let me create a configure method. Yeah. Give me that using statement. Let's create a configure statement. All right. I'm going to bring in the Unity container. Spoodier, hello there. Great to see you. All right, so this is Unity. It's totally 1 hour daylight saving time jet lag going on. So here's what I did. Because I flew home Friday night into Saturday morning, I didn't really fully adjust back on adjust back to Eastern time until really Sunday. So I kind of adjusted and hit daylight savings time all in one shot. There we go. I want this one. So let's install this. All right, so now I have a container. Terrific. So let's stash a copy of this. Private static Unity container. Yeah. All right, I'll do a control dot. Give me my using statement. Fantastic. Just so that I have something to build up here, let me add a models folder. Come on. Really? Thank you. And let me add a class inside there. I will call it product repository. All right. I need my spaces. Public interface iProduct repository. Let's return a product. Nope. I'm going to need a product object. Public class product. Oh, thanks for the follow, Spoodier. Spoodier? Did I pronounce that right? Let me give it an ID, and let me give it a string name. I don't care. This is just for a demo. Product get by ID int ID I enumerable. Why did I even do that? Ugh. Because I don't care. Get products. Okay. And if we implement that interface, cool. Let's just create a simple list. Private static read-only list product. Call me Sebastian, it'll be fine. All right. I still believe they don't DST, so didn't change times. Yep. Animated Slinky. Thank you for the follow. I think you're in the lead for the cool handle of the data there. That's pretty cool. Yeah, US changed. We're in that 2 weeks where we Americans changed and other folks didn't. All right, so let me just create a simple list of products. ID equals new list. There we go. ID equals 1, name equals foo. I don't care. New product, ID equals 2, name equals bar. All right. I just want a list of products. I don't care about get by ID. I'm going to do get products though. Return products. All right. So now I have a repository that has a concrete implementation and it actually returns something. So let me come up to Unity config. Container equals new container. Container dot, let's register type. Yeah. That's what I wanted. iProduct repository to product repository. I should be able to do that. All right, now I've got my container registered. Here's the last piece here. If I take this and I implement this as iService provider, it now has a GetService method here. Let me move this up so I can put all my Unity concerns in one place. And what this does is, this is the effective shim that the web forms framework will use to build up an object. Okay? The one time of the world, the rest of the world should follow Arizona's lead. Death to daylight savings. I don't know if I'd go quite there. All right, so what I can do at the conclusion of... no, I need the context. Wait a sec. There's my... Where did my notes go? Time to break out the notes. Because this worked really cool. One second. There we go. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. All right. So then what I can do is I can say HTTP runtime dot, and there's web object activator now. This is a new object. This is what will actually create the various objects in the web forms framework for you. Actually, whenever the HTTP runtime creates an object. So then I can set this to a new Unity config. And now whenever the framework goes to create an object, like a page or a control, it will route through this and call the GetService method. So let's just put together a quick GetService method that's appropriate for this. The type that's being constructed here, this would be your web form or your control. All right. So let's just build this out a smidge. Let's take a look at the constructors for the service type requested. And let's do a quick for each. Let's inspect each of those constructors. Cool. If ctor gets parameters dot all, and let's inspect and make sure that container is registered P. No, it's not P. P dot parameter type. Make sure all the parameter types are registered. If we do have a constructor that has all the parameter types registered, then return container dot resolve service type. Simple. Go resolve it. Is there any improvement to DI in .NET Core? .NET Core? No. No change to .NET Core. This is something that's strictly 4.7.2. All right. If it doesn't find an appropriate item there, we still need to return and create the web form or whatever it is. So we got to create a new one that's service type, and then we got to pass in all of our stupid binding flags, right? I'm actually going to type out binding flags because I want to control dot that and get a using statement. So we're going to want the instance, binding flags non-public, binding flags public, binding flags create instance, and then there's a bunch of other parameters here that I need. Let's do that. And now I've got a simple shim here. Now, you shouldn't be the one creating this. This is something that we want to help encourage the folks who maintain the DI containers to build. But what this does let me do now, because I have this, if I go over to my default page, I just have a page load at this point. What I can do is I can create a constructor and take in an iProduct repository, and I can say this dot repository equals repo. Create one of these. All right. AutoFac integrates quite nicely with .NET Core's DI bits. It does, because the, .NET Core has already opened up and made dependency injection part of it from the get-go. We're adding dependency injection into the legacy, you know, the 15-year-old web forms framework here. So now if I go back over to my, you know what, let's go to the default page. I'm going to get rid of all this junk in the middle here. And I'm going to add an ASP GridView, run at server, ID equals my grid, item type equals models. Oh, come on now. Where is it? Product. I should be able to find that. This is sample dependency injection. Why aren't you there? Because I haven't run a compile yet, that's why. Yep, rebuild my list. There it is, product. And then I'm going to set my select method, because I'm going to use model binding for this. Done. I don't need to do anything else. I'm going to go back over here, and where it does my model binding, I can just say return repository get products. Oops, I need to make that an as queryable. All right, let it run. And I've got a grid with my products. All right, so what did we learn? We can write some very simple code, and we can start to really simplify our code and push things like repository pattern out somewhere else. Moo, good to see you. What does the cow think? I want you to be able to refactor. I want you to be able to start to think about your web forms applications not as monolithic pages, but to be able to refactor, to be able to start injecting those things that you need so that you can separate your concerns, so that you can push things around. I see the stream schedule changed to 7. No. Shouldn't have. Yes, DST. You're right. So this should help you to start to refactor and simplify your projects so that you can more quickly build up and do things with web forms in a more solid pattern. And then once you have things like repository pattern in place and other patterns, and you're not newing them up from inside of your web forms, move them out into a separate project. And you'll be able to start refactoring and thinking about doing .NET Core. All right. So there you go. There's my pitch about web forms features today. Okay? Any interest in me saving off this source code for you guys? I built for the first time with SignalR at the hackathon. The ASP.NET SignalR as ASP.NET Core wasn't there yet. If you don't mind pulling in MVC bits, you can use dependency resolver in the ASPX pages. You can use the dependency resolver. You have to route out to it, don't you? And then you have to call it directly. You can't do constructor injection with that. So this also lets you do that injection with your controls as well. So, a couple different ways that you can approach it. Stas503, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. We're pushing closer and closer to that architecture workshop goal. So 2,500 followers between Mixer and Twitch, and we will host an 8-hour software architecture workshop. That'll be a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to roll over to Stream Tools, and we'll start taking a look at that project again, because we have a couple of pull requests here that we'll walk through. So an npm rc file for ASP.NET SignalR from Quackenbush Dev. So this kind of makes sense to make sure that we pull in the appropriate npm repository. We're pointing at the correct one as the ASP.NET team specified. So let me make sure I have my command window up here. Let me go into Stream Tools, open PowerShell, and this is being merged into the master branch. I'm okay with that. That's not a bad change. So let's check out master, and I think I can just pull this one directly in. This is one file. It's a new npm rc, and it just adds the ASP.NET registry. I'm okay with that. I don't think I need to go too much further into merging that. So I'm just going to let that one get merged in. Thanks for the suggestion. I appreciate your help. Helps if I spell appreciate right. There we go. All right. So now we have an npm rc. Terrific. Next one. Let me make sure I get that. All right. Let me go back into my dev branch. Yeah. All right. Let me merge that master so I get that change. Okay. Let's take a look at the next one. Removed first width option in goal widget preview from our friend Mr. Magoo. All right. Let's see. So the widget preview had 2 width parameters, which was causing it to display incorrectly. Let's take a look at what was changed. So the iframe source had a width embedded into it. Oh, on the home page. Ah. There we go. That kind of makes sense. Cool. I'll merge that one. That doesn't look like I need too much of an inspection. Thanks again for your contribution. All right. So let's take a look. Let's back out here. So I'm down to the one pull request for bot prep on Mixer. And I really want to get back into this when I start looking at the bots again, but I'm not quite there. So let me pull what I got here. That's fine. So let's take a look at the project again. Now, for those of you that haven't been around, this is a simple ASP.NET Core project that generates a couple of widgets, a couple of user interfaces that I'm using here on stream to show the status of how things are proceeding. It's an interesting exercise in generating user interface with some CSS, and also for working with ASP.NET Core, working with SignalR to generate some content. So I do have a little bit of bleed over here where this isn't quite looking proper, but my follower goal does look correct now, where it goes all the way out to the full number here, and that looks a little bit more like a real follower goal widget. And you can kind of see how some of the things are going here. My Mixer folks aren't quite loading right now on my viewer count. That's okay. But these are the same 3 widgets you see at the top of the video embedded here. So, looks like we can fix this up a little bit. And the reason you see the follower count here, and it doesn't match the one in video, is that I have this test service that is embedded that automatically increments every couple seconds. So, one of the key pieces we've been working on is this configuration page that looks and feels like a nice little configurator to set up and define all the things that I would want to define for my follower goal bar. Now, the problem that I'm running into is, and the bug that I opened over here, is that the follower goal doesn't show the current number of followers if you don't specify a current value. See that? So I'm not forcing a value into this, and it's not showing me the correct value. So I need to figure out why that's a 0. So let's take a look at that real quick. I have a feeling this is going to be something really easy. Now, this project uses the ASP.NET MVC pattern, right? The Modelviewcontroller pattern. And for that follower bar, it's actually this this method, this action method here called goal. And it takes in a follower goal configuration model. Now, the follower goal configuration model... Oh, I did it. Ah, where did it go? Oh, nuts. No, we're okay. We're okay. All right. It was already running. Yeah. Go away. Now look, now it's showing it for some reason. But for a while there, it was showing 0. It doesn't initialize it with the correct value, I believe is what's going on. So let's go back over here. I don't want to be down in there. Let me stop this. All right. So follower goal configuration model. If I look at that definition, there we go. There is a current value right here that defaults to 0. Yeah. You're right, Sushinator, and it's because I have that timer that's automatically adding values to it. It defaults to 0, and if we say load default values, so it loads the goal, but it never loads the current value. You see, it never sets what the current value is in this load default values, and that's the first thing that's called right here. And it configuration if the current value equals -1. So if I look at my configuration and where I get that current value, it'll actually get it out of app settings. And there is no current value defined here. So this defaults to not looking at the current follower count, but instead pulling it out of the model. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip this. Actually, I think I don't want to inspect the configuration current value. I think I want to inspect the model current value. And let me say if it is, let's say if it's less than or equal to 0. Because it's never going to be less than or equal to 0 when I'm actually working. Then I'll get it to pop through and show the current follower count. So let's give that one more shot. There we go. And if I refresh, it still shows 0. All right, now I feel bad. What's going on there? What's the deal with that? Model current value is 0. I did that backwards. Well, that's still true. I should get the current follower count 1199. Right, so current value should be, yeah, it should go out as 1200, which sets that properly now. All right. So let's take this. I actually want this to be if it's less than or equal to 0. Yeah. Yep, you're right, Ace Flames here. I flipped it backwards. Same thing would restart it. See that? This is why it's pair programming, because I got a lot of you folks out there keeping an eye. Now look at this. Model current value is 95 because that's what's being passed in. Right? That's something that's kind of forcing it. So we're going to stick with that 95 coming out. Cool. Malachi, good to see you streaming again. Great to see you here, Malachi. Thanks for joining me. So now Now, look, same thing here. My current followers is listing as 0. It hasn't loaded all the way from all of my services yet. There it goes. Now it loads. So now if I go back over to my configuration, I'm forcing 95 into that. And that looks good. If I click through and look at the real one, I'm at my breakpoint. Current value is 0. So I should get the real value. And I do. Fantastic. All right. So I think we have that issue fixed. So this is issue 71. I'll stop that. Let's commit that in. Git commit am. Ensuring the real follower count is shown when not overridden. And that was issue 71. Yep. Push that. Does it still update though? Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's... Ooh. What happened there? That's not right. Well, that might be part of it, is that I shut it down. Is send to async from signalar not an awaitable? Let's take a look. I'm going to turn this off. So that's working. I think it's when the server was disconnected, it went to 0. But these other ones aren't automatically setting with the correct value. There we go. Yeah. Now, I'm not thrilled with how this overlaps a little bit. And if I tell you what, I will go to that follower goal just to bring it up. Let me set the goal to 2,500 so it looks like mine. Right, and you'll see this update because of that fake, that test service is out there. Come on. So it did update, but full bar width is not defined. Where is that? It gets stuck at current value. Nope. It looks like it's working fine. Full bar width. Did we drop the full bar width object? I think we might have. Let's go back and take a look at that. All right, let's close some of these other things. I don't need that. Don't need that. What I do need is my goal CSHTML. So this is the actual bar, right? The actual follower bar. And it's saying that this full bar width doesn't exist. And you know what? I don't see it here anywhere. How did I lose full bar width? I mean, there was a thing that had the width of the bar. Let's go look at the history of this page. So this, I think, we're fixed. Let's go look at the code. Yeah, moments of WTF. Absolutely. I'm going to go down into the dev branch, and this is going to be views, followers, goal, TPCware. I'm back from MVP Summit. Happy to follow me again. Great to see you. All right, so full bar width was in this. So let's look at a history here. And standby reloading is looking at a commit 325 alpha dog. This one. And there we are. Full bar width equals at viewbag width. Looks like we dropped it right there. And looks like we also dropped goal value. Yeah, it looks like we dropped both values. Which makes me wonder how this has ever worked. Right? Where's goal value coming from? It's right, where's Stream Hub? Right, I think this was a piece that Joe Bun, you put together to make it easier to just push all the SignalR stuff into one place. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, but I don't see those two values. Right, so I think we need these. Let me get rid of the markers here from GitHub. That's better. So it shouldn't be goal value, it should just be goal. And now I'll have those values. That's weird. How was it ever working? It didn't know what those numbers were. So it hasn't finished connecting. I know what that is. That is, it hasn't finished connecting and pulling data from the services yet. All right, now it has it. Syntax error. Full bar width. It doesn't have a value there. It should be model.width. Fine. We'll fix that. And there goes some of my updates. Not bad. Looks like we're working better now. I've got to plug my mouse in. It's almost out of charge. But that looks like it's working properly now. All right. Yep, my follower count updated and there were no JavaScript errors. Good. Let's commit that change. There we go. Fixed missing JavaScript variables. All right, that's done. Go away. I want to go back to the home page. And I want to fix this alignment here. That feels bad that it's bleeding into the next one over, you know? Firefox doesn't take you directly to the line number from the console error. It tried to, but it didn't load properly. It was weird, you know? Right? I mean, well, here, look at this one. SignalR client, looking for SignalR min.js. No, I don't need that. Right, if I click this, it should jump me right to it, but it's not showing me that line. It's not highlighting that line. It just took me to the file. Yeah. I have a web forms project with ASP.NET Identity, and that creates a DB context for each request. Does that work with the new dependency injection? Yes, because identity, the identity stuff, will receive a DB context, right? You can actually set that up to receive one instead of creating a new one, and you can just pass it in. It still works because the text updates, but the width doesn't. Oh, I see what you're saying. All right, hang on. So the width should update. So let me go back over here to the sample that we had. So there's the 1206. You can see it's moving across, but to tell you what, I will, for the sake of argument, I will crank up the speed at which the followers appear from our fake. So I'll go into app settings, and our fake here, our update followers interval right now is once every 30 seconds. Let's speed that up. Let's have them come in every 1 second. I always create my own user role store and use my repository pattern instead of the direct DB context. Yes, you can certainly do that. So this should initialize and load. Come on. There we go. You can see it moving. It's crossing the two there. Right? It's slowly going across. I just fixed it. Yep. Nothing to debug. Currently I use context get, OWIN context get. That's not really DI. You're right. You're actually going across and you're doing a pull on your dependency to get that. I have to put the mouse on the line just to be sure. All right. I haven't moved my mouse. All right, you can see it going across. So we do have the width fixed. All right. Cool. I'm going to stop that. But I do want to fix this. I shouldn't have stopped that. I'm going to push this back up to... No, you know what? Let's leave it so that it just updates crazy fast. All right. Let's go back to the home page. And let's see if we can fix that width real quick. It's not that one. Oh, you know what? It's actually in a home view. This one. Close all but this. So now my current followers. So we have the iframe width as 25% of the viewing area. I think we need to make it more like 20%. I don't have it started again. What does the cow think? It asks, what's the difference between pages and views? Good question. There, that looks a little bit better. It still ends up collapsing when I get really small. Right, there's an area there. All right. Not bad. So let's talk about pages and views here. When you look at ASP.NET MVC, there's two ways that you can build content. You can build it with a controller pattern in ASP.NET Core, where you have a controller that goes and creates some sort of a model object and then passes it back into a view. And a view is effectively a template stored in a views folder underneath a folder that has the same name as your controller. And then that template may receive a model, it may not, and then does some formatting around that. Wow, lots of questions. All right, let me finish this. The second way that you can build content with ASP.NET Core is with a new structure called Razor Pages. And Razor Pages are a way for you to build something that's more page-oriented. And you think HTML first, and then you can have a view model that sits next to it that will go and get those things you need in order to present your page. In this case, the stream service that's actually going to format and place on the screen the current number of viewers per service. Okay? So those are the two different ways that you can build content, and ASP.NET Core will handle the routing for those appropriately, independently from each other. Any reason I'm not setting it to width 100% and letting Bootstrap handle it? So I'd actually tried that and was recommended to use the VW. So the VW approach. So I'll tell you what, I will set that to 100%, and let's just take a look at what it does. There's usually a size where Bootstrap is between medium and small, and stuff usually looks bad for about 100 pixels. Do I have any recommendation on resources for learning SignalR? Let me come back to that question. So resizing there's that one space, and then we're in pretty good shape. So I'm okay with making it 100%. We can do that. We can make it 100%. These should update in just a second. If I refresh, there we go, reloaded properly. All right. So tell you what, I'll leave that at 100% based on what does the cow thinks. Recommendation. Let's do a quick git status. Let's git commit. Set homepage iframes to 100% because what does the cow say? Said so. Now that's a confusing commit message. But thank you, cow. Do you have any recommendation or resources for learning SignalR? So SignalR with ASP.NET Core is very much in a preview state. You could check it out. You could try it. But I do not know of any learning resources out there yet. I'm waiting for the call from LinkedIn Learning to build another course on Microsoft Virtual Academy. Just in case you're not familiar, I believe it's mvamicrosoft.com. I have a number of courses here on ASP.NET Core that you can watch for free. Of course, you can't ask questions like you can here, so I'm more than happy to go through and show some of that stuff here. But you can look at a lot of the stuff with SignalR in regular ASP.NET, and it's a pretty close facsimile over here in ASP.NET Core. There was a question about send. I saw a question earlier about using the send async not being an async method here. So it actually is awaitable. You can await it if you want to wait for that to return. I am not awaiting it here because I want to fire and forget. Send that information out to the viewers, about my viewers or about my followers, and be done with it. I don't care. Magnus Leone says, hey, good afternoon, Magnus. I have not used ASP MVC on .NET Core. Can you go into a little more detail on how the model that next to the view gets created and receives dependencies regarding pages? Sure. And thank you, Dark Karad. Dark Karad? I appreciate you following. Welcome to the stream. Chris asks, could send async throw? It could, and I don't care. Yes, that's right, Dark Herard. Our friend, our good friend Steve, likes to welcome all developers to the stream. And at some point, I'm going to meet the man, and he's going to, and he may hear about that little widget here on stream, and I'm going to have to explain myself. I've actually had some of my colleagues at Microsoft say, I need to find a good one, a good buzz phrase like that from Satya and put it there. I think a lot of folks get the developers and appreciate it. I know what you mean, just wondered if it could be harmful to the overall service. You know what, the method ends right here. So even if update viewers or update followers did have a throw, it would stop and no big deal, right? It wouldn't bubble any further. So I don't think there's any harm of it crashing and harming anything. May end up in some live streaming with Steve, and he greets every follower personally. That would be weird, but I would appreciate it. Anyways, he's not. I don't think he's going to be at build, and I'm planning on streaming at build, so I don't think I'm going to have that problem. All right. So where was I? Oh, so the question from Magnus was, can you go into a little more detail on how the model that's next to the view gets created for pages? Sure. So let's just take a look at my current viewers. So this is, let me get rid of these other things. So if you look here in the video, right, this current viewers page, this is a Razor page, generates the content you see way up here in the top right corner, not the followers, but just above it, just to the right of it, above the chat. Now, all this is doing, sure, give me tabs. I'm able to build this up as a page by itself, right? I'm specifying with this @page directive that this is a standalone Razor page. Render this directly as a Razor page, okay? So it's not, when you look at my startup, I don't have to configure any kind of routes or anything to say, hey, there's Razor pages here. These are another feature of ASP.NET Core that it knows how to use. When it sees a pages folder and it sees somebody navigating to one of these file names that's in here, it's going to take that Razor page, that current viewers, drop off the CSHTML, and it's going to start rendering it. So it'll wander through, it sees that it is a page, and it knows then what its render model looks like, right? What its render process looks like. I don't want to use the word model here. I don't want to confuse things. And then, right, let's just skip line 2 here for a second. But it has a normal using statement. We're familiar with using statements by putting a using directive here at the top of the page. I get my generic collection made available to me. I've specified there is no layout, and then I've got a little dictionary here so I can remap my layout icons. And then I'm able to work with my objects here. I have inside my model, I'm returning a stream service. So I go through and look at all the viewer counts by service and output them. And then I generate a total one that's really just the sum of them. Bring in font awesome. And I'm able to work and build this by thinking about my user interface first. Now, you asked about the model specifically. So when you create a new Razor page, it creates this view model. And the view model is hiding right here, and it inherits from the page model. And this is how we're going to get things like our HTTP context, our current user information if you have security enabled, information about the request, so you can look at those things. So this will give you those features. And all that I'm doing is I've created a constructor here that receives a stream service. And just like all things in ASP.NET Core, dependency injection is enabled, so I'm injecting a stream service. I set that as a property on this page model, and that's how I'm able to inspect that and work with it. I have an onGet method here. This is important. You need to define one of these, and it's specific to the various HTTP verbs. So I have onGet because I'm just getting, I'm just navigating to the page. But if I put a button on the page and I wanted to do a post and push that data back, I could have an onPost method here, receive that data, do some action with it, and present the page again. So that's kind of what's going on there, and I hope that clears things up for you a little bit there, Magnus. Let me know if you have a follow-up question. Let's see, standby reloading. If those methods are called from the JavaScript client, if it did throw, it would likely only cause the JavaScript to hiccup. You're right. But I'm not calling those methods from the JavaScript. That follower client is really only embedded, and it's used as a convenience so that I don't push around some of those magic strings. So let's see what's going on here. I'm just going to peek over at Twitter, see if there's anybody yapping at us over there. Live show is still running. Yes, it is. I'm on. Oh, Sean Reed is now following us. Welcome, Sean. And I hope you're okay. You got an underscore there on you. Hope it's not causing a problem. Magnus, that explains a lot. Can you give an example of a URL on how to access one of those pages? Is it just localhost port page name? You're right. You're absolutely right, Magnus. And in fact, I can create child folders under here, and you'll end up with that same rich page navigation hierarchy that we're used to from PHP or other web frameworks. Maybe mention bind property attribute on model properties. Okay, so if you were posting things back, right, if I had something that I was posting back and, maybe it's name or something, I don't know, and I have this property that I want to attach to, right, if there was a text box over here somewhere, I don't know, right, input type equals text, name equals, right, name, right? When this gets posted by using this bind property attribute, that value will actually go directly into this name property, and then I can inspect that directly. So this way, you're receiving those values into strongly typed objects that you can inspect. Is that Matcha Guy? Welcome. I appreciate the follow over there on Mixer. It does feel weird. It does look weird. But when you start working with it, it just kind of makes sense at one point. All right. So let me just clear that up. All right. Now, where were we? You know what? Let me do a git reset so I don't have it. There you go. What does the cow say? So it looks a lot like the MVVM pattern in WPF. You're right. You're absolutely right. It does. And now I'm out of coffee, and I'm going to feel bad the rest of the morning. Time to end the stream. Kidding. Totally kidding. Totally kidding. All right. Wow, lots of folks retweeting that start of the stream today. That's great. Even Immo. And Immo does want to join us. We just need to lock down the time with him. Is there a concept for AJAX calls in Razor pages? So, talk to me a little bit about that, Nifix. You can absolutely do AJAX calls to Razor pages and get portions of that page back to present. You can certainly, like I'm doing here in my current viewers, I've embedded some JavaScript and I'm getting data from a third party, from another source, in this case from my Stream Hub, and that's a SignalR data source, and I'm loading it up and presenting that data as it changes. You can certainly embed Angular here if you'd like. If you don't want to post the whole form, absolutely. You can post back to an API if you'd like. You don't have to post back to the page. You have a lot of different options here. Razor Pages is a server-side rendered solution. If you want AJAX, you have to add some... Yes, of course, Isaac. Of course. All right. All right. Oh, you want to do partial rendering? No, we can't do... There is no facility really to do that kind of partial rendering. If you wanted to render just part of a page, if you wanted to render just part of it, I'd be tempted to use an MVC pattern and set up so you could grab just that part and maybe turn various pieces of your markup into HTML partials and be able to return just those individual pieces. Gabra says, nice music. Thank you. This is Music to Code By from Carl Franklin. If you go to the page for my stream, so I'm out here on GitHub. If you go to Fritz Livestream, you'll see there's a link here for the music. So you can check that out and download your own copy if you like it. So, you could use AJAX to get post to a Razor page and use the return to HTML. Yes, you could do that, and you could fetch just part of it if you'd like to do that. But you're going to render the whole page. If you only wanted to render part of it server side, you can do that also. No problem, Gabra. Thanks for joining us. All right. Now, what was the next thing I wanted to do? Not the live stream. Let me go back to Stream Tools. Here we go. Turbo links. Oh, turbo links. All right. So, we were talking about a now playing feature. Moderators should be able to adjust volume, detect errors in the report, followers, controller, goal, and report. So, we were talking about adding this little bit here. I'm going to leave that out there because I think that's a good first issue for folks to come around to. Adjust font color based on the background color we were talking about. And there's some discussion on that. Allow arrow keys and selection of fonts from the font text box. This would be interesting to work on. Need to cache locally. And there were some comments about caching headers on that. What's the difference between AJAX and SignalR? What's better and why? Standby Reloading says SignalR reduces requirements for AJAX doing the have data. Do you have data? Do you have data? Yes. And SignalR, you're right, Cal. SignalR is much more of a push notification system. If browser supports it, SignalR defaults to using socket connections, and they solve different problems. Right. So AJAX is very much a pull operation. When I'm ready, go pull and go get data. And SignalR actually supports you being able to interact with the server that way. But it also supports setting up a connection so the server can push commands and data to clients. And we do that with this send async method. So let me show you in our follower client. So there's this send async method, and I tell it what's the name of the method you want to trigger on the client, and any data you want to pass into that. You don't use SignalR for reliable single call communication. You could, because SignalR abstracts away the communication protocol that you use to communicate to the server, right? In Ajax, as who was it who was suggesting it? Standby Reloading was saying, right, you have to poll, right, every 10 seconds. Do you have data? Do you have data? What you can do is SignalR will set up and support WebSockets. So it just leaves the socket open and sends the message over it when there's information. It'll also support long polling, where it'll say, do you have data? And the server will say, hang on. And it'll actually keep the connection open as long as your server is configured to keep the connection open, which might be as long as like 30 seconds. And if at the end of that 30 seconds, it still doesn't have data, the server will tell the client, I didn't have any, but call me right back. And then the client will make another request and say, did you have data? And then the server says, nothing yet. But as soon as there is data, the server will say, yes, here's your data, call me right back. And it sets up and it does that long polling. You could, but hasn't it always been said that it's not for reliable messaging? It's not a web API. I hear both sides of that. I explained SignalR to some high school students by showing the part of Shrek where Donkey keeps asking if we're there yet. We should have used the Simpsons episode. Nice. I'm probably not saying it right. Would be interesting to see server push via HTTP 2 in ASP.NET Core. Well, we are doing a bit of server push. That's how I'm getting the widgets and things to change. I'm pushing data down. SignalR abstracts away you having to learn long polling, WebSockets, and the push of data either way. Exactly. And I'm referring, in this case, to all of my connected clients. There's other ways to break that up into groups and target individual clients as well. Hey, Carlos348, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you giving me a follow there on Twitch. On Twitch, we're up to 958 followers, 234 on Mixer. That's awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Nuts. I have... There we go. All right. Let's go back over here. Let's take a look. What can we pull in as our next... need to set font color for filled-in bar elements. We did finish this. I added this capability. But I only allow you to set it on one of them. Yeah, sorry about that, Malachi. Now setting the font color for all filled elements. Do you think I need to make it so you can choose each one individually? Right, because I might want to set this to white, I might want to set this to navy blue, I might want to set this to yellow. I don't know. Regarding HTTP 2 server push, that's more about resource the server knows you're going to request anyways. Not quite the same as long polling WebSockets and the like. Not claiming expertise. What's the state on HTTP 2 in .NET Framework and Core, by the way? HTTP 2 is supported in .NET Framework with ASP.NET. You just need to be running on, I believe it's IIS in, I believe it's IIS 9 and 10 supported. So it's basically the last two versions of Windows Server, and it'll work just fine. If you're running .NET Framework 4.6, 4.6.1, and later. So it's there. I forget exactly which versions it's available, but it's been available for like 3-4 years. At least it's been out there. .NET Core, I believe, supports HTTP 2 out of the box. You just need to have the SSL certificate set up. Yes, if you ask the question, someone else will. Fubarius, that would be up to IIS. Yes, requires server 2016. I thought it was on IIS, and it might be IIS 10. Look at that, and even a link to support. Thank you. It is what... It's weird. I look over at Twitter, and there's Miguel talking about Buddha. What? What? All right, back to the project. I'm not going to get more granular with this. I think this just feels weird to get a little bit further. I'm just going to close this for now. If anybody wants to get more granular, it's there. I think this might be interesting to do. Consider using auto fixture. So we have done this. So I'm going to close this to clean this up a little bit, because we are using auto fixture. Create and save settings. I'm going to close this also because I don't really want to save settings. IIS 10 added support. All right, that's the one it was. I couldn't remember if it was 10 or 9. Theme support. I'm not sold on this yet. Docs needed. We've added some docs. I'm going to close this. I want to leave this open for somebody who wants to do, if anybody wants to write a pull request. But there was a nice sample here, right? And from Mr. Magoo, and I believe, isn't that you, Standby Reloading? The issue here is that if you're in a color gradient, you might get into a weird issue. You're right. So determine font color based on background color. And this looks like a little bit of C# to do this. So here's some JavaScript. So let's see. Get element by ID container, color is light, function RGB. Counting the perceptive luminance, human eye favors green color. Alright. Return A is less than 0.5. Okay. So there's the random RGB. Color from RGB. Text color is light. Background RGB 0, background RGB 1, background RGB 2. So color is light is what's doing this. All right, so color is light is returning, it's returning a true or a false. Okay, so if it's true, it returns black. If it's not, it returns white. That's not bad. So if we were to take this function and we were to more or less give you an ability to say default inside of the configuration for this. It's not running. I was going to tinker with the Twitch bot, but I wanted to use the interfaces to JBDK, put in PR48. Let's take a look at that. Maybe we'll start pulling that in. All right, so here's my follower goal, current value. We'll force that to something more impressive. There we go. But let me see if I can just add a default to both of these. What would be a good icon for a default? I'll figure that out later. All right. So let's go to this. And I'm going to take this color is light function. And let's start copying that in. This is all JavaScript, so I don't think I need to restart my application here. So I'm just going to go down into my JavaScript goal configuration. I don't want the minified one. Let's go into this. So there's my onload, save values, create CSS link tag. Yep, that's for the Google. Fonts. More font stuff. That should probably be in the font. Yeah, whatever. All right. Remove color, renumber colors. So let's add after this, color is light. That's better. That's better for me. All right. So it'll take it in RGB and it'll return whether it's a light color or not. All right. So let's go up here. And let's see. Onload. Where is onload? Here. These are the color arrays. That's fine. All right. So I want a little default button for both of these right here. So let me place those. Not current viewers. Followers. Goal configuration. So where's my font colors? There they are. Empty font color, fill font color. And let's just add a anchor tag for right now. ID equals default empty font color. And I'll just put that. I'll do the same thing here, and I'll make this default fill font color. All right. Configure default font colors. And I'll create that method. What do we got there? Go to meeting. Hey, wow, everybody go to that meeting. Bad idea. All right. So I'm going to configure this. So I've got these two default fill font color and default empty font color, and I want to make sure that I don't reference. Yeah, I have no way to remove that standby reloading. That's in the video. I don't have any coffee. Can someone get me coffee? Anyways, all right. So I want to wire up to both of these. So we will call this, I have an array of these things. So let's call them buttons equals, right? It was default, empty font color, and default fill font color. Yeah. All right. And for each, I'm going to set up a regular expression. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me this is stupid. Look at that. Regular expressions. I know them. All right. So for... No, I don't want to do for var I. Button Is it of buttons? Right? Because that way I won't get back... Yeah, I'll get back the string. I won't get back the int position. Okay. Alright. Probably have to... Wow, that was a new move. Sorry. Alright, so var this button is going to be document get element by ID, and the ID that I'm going to go get is going to be that button name. Yeah. This button dot on click. Cool. Callback function. Woohoo! Good idea, doing my part, although the replay. Yes. Dunks RS, welcome. Good. It's been a while since I've seen you here. Let me think. All right, so I want to get. Actually, I should move this out. Why is this? I'm thinking, how do I handle the ID? And because I want to inspect, I want to do something like var this ID equals, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that and get the actual value back. Let's take a look. We'll see what happens. Because I want to, right, var target color equals re default dot replace. No, string replace. String dot, not string dot replace. This ID dot replace. Yes. Re default. And I just want to remove that beginning. And actually, if I can just search for a string, heck, I'll just search for the word default and remove it. So now I've got my target color element. And I want to inspect and get the color out of it, right? Because that, right? So that'll be empty font color or fill font color, which are these elements, which are colors. So those, when I'm actually working with them, right, don't I get an RGB out of it? Let's see, where is it? Exact match, partial match. Where is it? Load preview, init preview. Yeah. Right, load preview. So the colors. Yeah, that's an RGB that comes out. No, that's a. What is it that comes out of there? Let's say log target color. All right, let's reload and see what happens here. So I'm going to F12, and I'm going to move this over just a smidge so it's out from behind me. Oh, look at that. Oh, God. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's my laptop over there you're seeing. All right. What's blowing up? This button dot on click is not a function. Really? Where? No, it didn't jump to the line. What do you mean it's not a function? Is this button not a thing? Where's my locals? Yep, button. Default empty font color. Isn't that a thing? I mean, that's what these things are, right? ID, default empty font color. I missed this. I should use your laugh sound for a new follower. My laugh sound? Would be the ultimate boo-boo if that link was for a meeting which had gone out in a huge mail shot. Yeah, that would have been a problem. So why isn't it doing a document get element by ID and finding that? Right? Try this again. Right, so it does have this button. It knows what that is. On click. Oh, you know what? I'm using it as a function instead of... yeah, I'm thinking jQuery here. My bad. One more time. Yep, found both of them. Good. Now, I'm going to set a breakpoint right there. Because I want to click on this. So this ID, cool, it found a default empty font color. And if I step in, target color is empty font color. Good. So what do I get if I actually look at that? Right? Go back to the console. It's hiding behind me. Let's slide over. Document, get element, empty font color, dot value. Yeah, I get a hex coming back. Oh, I've got to convert that back to RGB, don't I? Rats. All right. Let's take a look at this. Is it actually converting it to... No, he's actually writing RGB out instead of getting it from hex. So I need to go hex back to RGB. Let's see if we can find a quick snippet. Our friends at Stack Overflow have an easy answer, right? Dude. That's RGB to HTML. I need HTML to RGB. Feels bad, man. Let's see. ParseInt hex Oh, it's 16. Fantastic. Here's an approach that seems even faster. The new approach above is not faster, although it is a fun alternate. No, I was going to say this looks really fast. All right, let's go back to this and over here. Now I feel like I'm running into like JavaScript scope creep, you know? All right, so let's say var target RGB equals hex to RGB. Yeah. Document get element by ID. The target color. Cool. Dot value, which will be that string. So I want to replace, let's find the hash and remove it. So that should give me back a RGB for us to look at. Let's take a look, see? Is the Stack Overflow preview in the search page something from the search engine or an add-on? That is a feature of DuckDuckGo. A true JavaScript developer would install a package for that from NPM. Whoa! Burned! Thanks, Malachi. Now I feel bad. All right. Copy paste is allowed as long as you know what you're doing. And I think I know what I'm doing. All right. So let's see. Where was I? All right. Console. No errors. That's always a good place to start. So let's see if we click this. And I get 255, 255, 255. Yeah, that's right. And if I click this one, I should get zeros. Good. I don't like because I have the hash there. It jumped up to the top. I'm gonna have to do something about that. All right. Right. How do I prevent? That's a compliment. Oh, thank you. The replace default in element IDs is not pretty. Tell you what, LNG Grinds, what would be better? What do you think? I would go with a target ID stored in a data attribute. Terrific. Let's do it. That's a great idea. Data, let's call it target, and we'll just call it fill font color. I like it. Data target equals empty font color. And then instead of doing this ID replace, I don't even have to get this ID. I can just say get attribute data target. That works. Right? Cool. Nice suggestion, LNG Grinds. Thank you. There you go. Learned something new. I appreciate that. I really do. It's easy for us to pick up on. Does that data target value read your model name or is it a magic string? It is a magic string. You're right. All right, so let's do this. At name of... Well, you know what? I'm okay. No, I need it to be a name of. Nuts. Nuts. Model dot empty font color. At name of. Oops, we need model in front of that. There we go. And that'll still work, but I've got these. And that's okay because those are the names of these anchors. I'm all right with those. I'm not... How do I cancel that navigation so it doesn't actually move that, right? Move the browser. Isn't it something like event.cancel or something? Cancel bubble. Isn't it something like that? Yeah, event not defined. No, that's not what it is. Oh wait, I'm not in the event. Prevent default, that's it. There we go. So scroll, click. Nope, still navigated. Event is not defined. What do you mean it's not defined? Of course it's defined. I'm in the middle of a click. Nope, event is not defined. Are you kidding me? There's always an event. There's a param on my click. Ah. So if I do that. There we go. Now it's not navigating on me. Cool. Thank you. So now I know what the target RGB element is, and I know what the target RG and B values are, but it's the hex to RGB actually returns it as a comma-separated list. I'd really prefer it to come back as 3. I'd like it to be 3 values so I could submit it like that. I don't want to end up having to do the split and all that nonsense. So let's return this not as a comma-separated list. Let's return this as an array. RGB. Right? Because then I should be able to do... Wait a sec! That's not American. Tell you what, I will leave it the way it was originally written. And my friend Barry Dorns is going to get on my case. Target RGB. And that should work? Let's see if it does work. So I got not a number coming back, but I got false. It is not light. If I say this one, I still get false. Where's the NAN coming out of? Let's do this. Log target RGB, because that should still be coming back. And let's just break this out. Target RGB1, target RGB2. Aren't you supposed to be using the background color to calculate the font color, or is that the next step? Yeah, I'm just checking this color first, and then I'll go and inspect. 0, 0, 0, 1. False undefined. True. Okay, good. So I'm getting the empty font color and fill font color. That's what I'm trying to set. I'm trying to set those values. Zocknewt, welcome. Thank you for the follow over there on Twitch. I appreciate that. All right. So that's looking at that's the target that I want to set. I really want to look at the empty background and the fill background and kind of specify there which one I want to use. So let's particularly have let's go back to the this. So I almost have two of these, right? The target that I'm going to trigger against, and then I also want to have the background. Let's call it background. And this one is the model dot, and it's going to be, this is the empty, so it's the empty background color is the one that we're going to set, we're going to inspect and set the empty font color on. So that's data background, right? So that's the target color. Var the inspect color that we're actually inspecting against is this get attribute, that one. All right. So my target RGB is, no, my inspect RGB is not target color, but inspect color. All right. I don't care about that. Color is light. Let's change these to inspect RGB. Cool. IT Goran, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. So that'll get me whether or not the color is light. And based on that, equals. So if the background color is light, then I want to make the new font color black. If it's dark, I want to make it. I should do that. I should do that as RGBs. 0, 0, 0, 255, 255, 255. I think that'll work. Right? Do we set the, where do we set the values of those colors? Do 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 boom 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 boom. It's when we reload. Onload, yeah. Local storage. BG color, there we go. Add color key. So it adds them. And then it sets the value equals. All right, I think it's. Yeah. Let's try that. And then we can, let's see if we can just say, let's call this target color element equals document get a element by ID. No, there it is. So I should be able to say target color el dot value, yeah, equals new font color. Let's see if that works. All right. So the empty background is this light gray. So let's make it black so you can't see it. Now let's click the default here and see if this flips to white. And it did not, because I did something wrong. If we say document empty font color dot value equals, can I do this? Nope. Is it that? No. No. Oh, it's actually the hex. Oh, I gotta convert it back to hex. All right, so, right, if I set that to... That still didn't work. I've got to put the full 6 in. I can't do the shortcut 3. And then I need to trigger the preview, and that works. All right, so let's do this. Where did that algorithm go? Not that one. Because some knucklehead here actually had the reverse stored as well. Yeah, RGB to hex. So let's do that. So now I've got that. So that's going to need to take in RG and B. Okay. Well, wait a sec. Wait a sec. Overthinking it. Yeah, you're right, Mr. Magoo. That's exactly what I started thinking. What am I doing here? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Trust an engineer to over-engineer it. All right. So if I change my empty background color, there we go. Let's make it yellow. And if I click default here, I should get that flipping to black. Now, I need to trigger the load preview. I need to trigger it to refresh. It's the last bit that I need there. Which, where is that? Right, quick preview text boxes. On change load preview. I'm just going to call load preview directly. Right there. There it is. So if I click this, bingo. And if I refresh, does it remember my setting? Of course. Yes. Aren't you just using black and white? That's right. That made things easier. Now, fill font color. I'm going to run into a different problem here, where I need to figure out which one of the colors I'm inspecting and do something similar. Let's see. So I don't want to cheese out on this, but I need... Right, if I do that... Right, my background colors... Right, fill background color is actually an array. And I want to grab the first one, really, which is BG color 1. Which, rats, BG color 1. There's always at least one background color. Maybe just use that for default. Yeah, I think you're right. All right, so the fill font color, right? Let's see what that does. Yeah, it still thinks it's going to be white because that first block, let's make that really light now. So if I click default here, it flips it to black. Terrific. Ship it. I could see that being a little bit of an issue at some point in the future, because we've got 3 different fonts here. I could see maybe wanting a different color for each one of these. But for right now, I'm okay with that. I'm going to run out to Font Awesome. Font Awesome. Yeah. Icons. Because I'm using Font Awesome for, where is it? Yeah. I want to figure out a good widget here, right? Don't I have Font Awesome referenced? Oh no, you know what? This is just the standard Bootstrap icons. So let's go in here, and I want to find icons. Here we go. Right, because if you look, button secondary, there it is. You should submit that to the spec. Yeah, you're right. So what should be a good default icon? Ah, there you go. Let's try that one. Glyph icon, adjust. I like it. Class equals that. Let's do the same thing here. Now, why do I still have the word default there? Don't mix with other. Change the icon font location. Blah, 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 blah. Aria hidden true. Let's do that. I know they're there. What am I missing here, fellas? I'm not getting a new version of this. Oh no, the class is there. Just set back down. What is he working on? Oh, this is now Bootstrap 4? Is it Bootstrap 4? Nope, it's 337. Display block for icons. Could be. This one. Could be. Nope. You should have to replace default and remove the class and put iClass. You should just replace default. I thought Bootstrap used I for fonts. I thought you could put it on anything and it would just work. But we can do that. We can do that. So I will remove this. And do that. go. And get rid of this. And now they're completely gone. I'm inspecting. Show me. Default empty font color. I class glyph icon adjust. Did it load the glyph icons? I am not using Bootstrap 4. You have a link to CDN in my... No. Do I? Do I? Because Bootstrap's still over here. It is there. Oh my gosh. I didn't know somebody adjusted that on me. I might have adjusted it on me. What am I saying? Alright. So we're using the wrong version of Bootstrap component. Feels bad. Yes. 4 components. So where'd the glyphs go? I had it highlighted in my console. Did I? Bummer. Content? No. You're using Bootstrap 4 that doesn't have the glyph icons in anywhere. Font awesome time. I already have font awesome referenced, but we're using it. FAS FA adjust. Are they referenced? Is font awesome in the layout? Yep, there it is. That's better. And I should put some text with that. And then I should probably get rid of this extra bootstrap that's up here, right? I don't want to confuse myself any further later. Alright. So let's put some title text with that. Choose a default color for maximum contrast. There we go. There it is. Cool. All right, so I've got tooltips. Ship it. Cool. All right. Did we change anything in current viewers? Some tabbing. That's fine. Appleberry Cherry. Thanks for the follow. Added default font colors. Buttons. There we go. And that is for issue number 59. That was a great suggestion. So we've got a bunch of fixes we pushed in today. I could init the tooltip plugin to make that look better. I could. Data toggle tooltip. And these are coming. Where's it get the tooltip text from? Oh, it's pulling the HTML from title. So if we just do that, it'll work. But I need to put data toggle tooltip on. All right, let's try that, see what that looks like. Over here, it's not running again. We're almost out of time here this morning. All right, let's go over to the configuration again. I need to initialize it now. All right, so that was in here. Collapse everything up. Onload, so in the onload method here. So we got all this stuff. Nope, that's not it. That's it. I thought I copied that. Oh, dummy. This. All right. And now get no tooltip. Also, you need to specify the placement. That's HTML. I see. I think I want it on top. Do that. And over here. Nope. Negative. Not coming up. And aside, Fritz, but how long did it take you, my emote, to get approved? It took about 2 weeks. I need the data placement. Yeah. I put some data placement in there. Data placement with the data toggle. Right? That just works. Data toggle, data placement, title. And inside my, not that one. Don't need that. Data toggle tooltip, tooltip. Data toggle tooltip. I have that on... Yeah, it's on the I. That's okay. That should work. Why isn't it picking it up? Oh, look at that SVG. Data placement top, data toggle tooltip. Oh, look, the title disappeared. Oh, original title. Data original title. So it's there. Does this have an event wired up to it? Right? I mean, I think I have to put that stuff outside of it. I think these items are being clobbered by Font Awesome. And I need to put them on this. There it is. Yeah, Font Awesome is clobbering it. So let's copy this out. And put it on the anchor tag. And dear Lord, that anchor tag is getting huge. But it just works now. Cool. I pasted in jQuery syntax. Yeah. Is that a bad thing? Right? I mean, I could do document get elements. But why? I've got jQuery sitting here. It's already in the page. Use it. And jQuery has to be there for Bootstrap. So, all right. That's not bad. I can take that. Let's take a quick look. That's fine. Converted simple title attributes to Bootstrap tooltips. Cool. Push that. We need to drink every time jQuery gets used. I see where you're going there, but jQuery is kind of it's in play here because it's Bootstrap. So, all right. That's all updated. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tag this and make it version 092. So I actually have a script here called build.command. And this will actually build it in the container, tag it with the version number that I give it. I'll give it 092. It'll git tag it, and we'll push that tag up. All right, so let's do it. 092. And then we'll be all set and ready to go for next time I'm ready to run the stream. Looks good, looks good. All right, pushing my content up. Go, go, go. Push that data. Toxic. jQuery's toxic, huh? There you go. There's where my GitHub is located. All right. So now I can pull that down and use it to host my service. Let me update my run command over here because I rolled back a version. And nope. Cool. All right. So now I'm wiring up so that we can run the latest version of this here. Let's take a quick look at the pull request hanging out there from Joe Bunn for the mixer bot, because you put a ton of work into this. I mean, wow. 42 tests. Awesome. That simulate packets received from the WebSocket. So everything is tested from the bottom up. It also includes tests for the mixer REST client that simulates an HTTP client. Cool. Token should be stored in secrets. Yes. Let's see. Authorization. Channel. Okay. Look at this. Requires OAuth implicit grant authorization. So this is tremendous documentation here that I do not want to lose when I merge this. Like, I want to copy this into the wiki for this. Look at all that work. Wow. There's a white space new line issue in the CS proj. What are you looking for with the bang so command? What's Magnus looking for? Am I using the Alpine base images? I am not. The Alpine base images are very alpha. They're working on them. Not quite there yet. I think I have fixed the white space in the last commit. Oh, okay. So there's a bunch of conflicts in here in app settings. I'm not worried about conflict in that. But this is an amazing set of commits here to start working on a bot to listen and have us be able to start interacting with Mixer. The iChat service. If Stream Service implements iChat service, it is automatically registered in dependency injection. This interface allows you to receive chat messages, send whisper messages, and ban timeout users. Wow. That is a great looking interface there. Chat user info event args. Additionally, implements a Mixer specific interface. Okay. Are you going to expand this to Twitch? Yes, the idea. So there's actually hooks in inside of the Twitch API to do that work. There is not a Mixer API to do this. Logging. You can set the log level of Mixer Live or Mixer Chat to trace to make it show packets on the WebSocket. Awesome. This is really awesome. Great work, Jobun. So here's the thing, though. There's 49 files changed. I wish I could just get a list of all of these. Global suppressions CS. That's fine. JSON content. JSON extensions. So you created a helpers area. Task extensions. Sample quotes for the chatbot. Nice. Yeah, we do need a whole stream to review this. This is really cool. Okay. here's what I want to do. I don't want to merge this directly into dev. What I'm going to do is, oops, I don't want the commit one, because this is amazing, and I want to unstick some folks who want to start looking at this and working together on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to check out, and I'm going to push this into a branch here so that we can start to look at it. All right. Yep. Okay, so it's got this merge in app settings we need to fix. That's fine, we'll fix that real quick. And it's because, yes. Where'd it go? Channel and token for mixer there. We call it channel and channel ID up there. Yeah, that's fine. You know what? I'm going to accept the incoming. That's fine. Merged. Cool. All right. I'm going to push this up. Right, it's going to tell me, yeah. That's what I want to do. Why won't you let me paste? JBDK mixer bot prep. Oops, I forgot the origin. There it goes. All right. Yeah, I do plan to rebase it onto dev. There's a lot here. And I do want to make sure. Let's see what it says. I want to make sure that all that great documentation comes along with it. So I've pushed that up. It's in the public repository now, so folks can start to take a look at it. And don't have stuff too long or the merge will be hard later. Exactly. So I'm going to end up rebasing this. I mean, 84 commits. Wow. Look at that, almost 4,000 lines of code. There's a lot here. But we're gonna need to really take a look at this, and I think I'm gonna need to wait and do that on Saturday, because on Thursday we have our friend Scott Hanselman joining us. So I think I'm gonna end there. If you want to take a look and you want to start looking at it, there's the branch. It's here in the public repository, so we can start looking at everything that's going on here in this new bot implementation that Joe Bunn submitted to us. And there is a lot here that I need to start looking at and understanding, because wow, right? Here's all of those helpers that he created. I don't even know where the bot itself is. Right, so there is iChat message. So iMixer service is an iChat service. So where's the actual bot at? Is it here? Chat message, chat user info, fake service, follower client, iChat service, sample chat bot. So here it is. And we could take this apart and look at it next time, but I encourage you, if you're interested, take a look here. There's a lot going on. I could definitely see separating some of this out, but we need to we need to learn a little bit more about what's going on here before I feel comfortable putting it into service. You've done a lot of work here, and I want to understand it. Clearly, he never sleeps. So that's where I'm going to end today. We've gone a little bit over where I normally like to stop. That's all right. As always, I'll archive this video off. It'll be over on the YouTube channel. I want to learn a little bit more about what's going on here, so we'll take a look at that. Maybe the second half of Thursday's episode, but definitely Saturday, we'll take a look at this. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me. I appreciate all the follows. Oh, if you want the YouTube channel, youtube.jeffreyfritz.com will take you right to where it is residing. Alrighty. Take care. We'll see you next time.